Luxury whispers and velvet dreams. Sarah laughs, but nothing's as it seems. Game of chance or a clever scheme. Hidden fortune stitched in the seam. You'll never know till you're caught in the stream. Phala Phala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Phala Phala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Phala Phala, where the secrets play. Under the cushions, the cash will stay. Phala Phala, don't give it away. Rainy day, rainy day. Hey.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program. It's Saturday, April 11th, just 4 days to tax day. For tax returns must be filed here in the States. Yeah, a lot of people not happy about that. As usual, we spend about 5.5 months of our life paying the government to oppress us and not deliver services. It's better than South Africa, but it's still not great. Give me a second here. Oh, it's Eric. Okay, I didn't know that. Cool. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing one. Looking for one more here, and then we've got it. Where is the last one at? That's strange. Cannot find the last one. I must have missed it at the top. Anyway, yeah, so 4 days from the end of tax day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I miscounted. I had them all there. All right, welcome to the 200-plus people here. Thank you for the membership there. Alan McGonigal, been here long before the refugee program began. Thank you for that. It's a pleasure. Let me see how the sound is over here. Thank you for that. It's a pleasure. Oh, my sound's not so good. I sound like I swallowed a frog. Anyway, we're going to get through the news here very quickly. I'm meeting with a South African refugee who's been relocated to central Pennsylvania. At about 1:30, I'm supposed to meet that refugee. That's an hour and 19 minutes from now, so we're going to get through the news pretty quickly. Lots to talk about here, as always. Never a dull moment. Meanwhile, I'm getting pestered by people sending me messages on WhatsApp. Did you get my message? Did you get my message? Did you get my message? Person wrote to me on Thursday. They wrote to me on Friday, and they sent me another message today. I mean, come on, get a grip here. You're asking for something that's highly unusual. It takes time for me to coordinate with people and ask. I'm not going to make you any promises until after I've talked to people. And besides, I'm a little busy. I went to bed at 3:30 this morning, and I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, and I've been working ever since. I'll leave here, go help refugee. I'll come back if there's time. I'll plant my raspberry bushes, and then when I'm done planting my raspberry bushes, I'll go collect my steamed crabs, eat my dinner, and then finally I'll have a couple hours myself before we start it all over again. People need Erica. Hey, by the way, Erica's birthday's today. I didn't know she was going to be there. I thought she was out right now. So let me just get that up very quickly for Erica Strauss, previous guest on the program. She sent me a note. Erica, am I confused? Was I supposed to have you on today? Because if I was, I'm a little confused. I don't recall that. I must be making commitments that I can't execute. So I don't recall that. So I'm glad it worked out just as well with what's going on with you, with your birthday. Happy birthday, Erica Strauss. Right there's the birthday cake, my favorite, purple. Welcome back. Good day to everybody, including some folks who haven't seen before. So a few people slipping through the cracks of the shadow banning. Yep. News on a Saturday night. Yes, Nicola. Well, we always do news on the weekend, unless there's rugby. You probably think that I don't do it because we've had a lot of rugby recently. But with the South African sides being cheated, well, two of them, the Sharks suck, but the Bulls and especially the Stormers were cheated in the Champions Cup. And so they were betrayed by refereeing, and so they're out of it now. So happy birthday to Erica Strauss. All right, folks, let's get to the news. And apologies for being late, but I had to publish a video that just went up just now. That video is about the Phala Phala scandal. And I hope you like the graphic that I put together. By the way, Gemini is too politically correct. They wouldn't make that graphic. I had to use Grok to make that graphic of Sergeant Schultz saying, "I see nothing, I hear nothing," about Cyril Ramaphosa's reaction to the Phala Phala report. All right, let's get to the news. Welcome to the nearly 300 people here as we mass. Things are getting crazy in Ireland, ladies and gentlemen, the fifth day of protest. Now, what I find fascinating is I ran through this when I talked the other day on my broadcast, sitting outside out the War College, my news broadcast. I talked about how the media has played this up, the price, the rising price, and how it's gone up 28 to 30% because of the conflict. Yeah, but the price of petrol went from a barrel of $52 when Biden became president to $120 a barrel. That is a $72, $120. It was a $72 increase, a 120% increase. And there were no demonstrations in the streets of Ireland. There were no people blocking transport hubs. There were no people complaining about the price. Isn't it funny how dim-witted people can be? They can ignore the meteoric increase in the price of petrol under Biden because there's no war that he's responsible for, but his ineptitude and his rainbows and unicorns drive up the price of petroleum by more than double, 120%, from $52 a barrel to $126 a barrel. I showed you the stats from the Energy Information Agency. These are facts that cannot be disproven. And now we have the prices go up 30%. They've already dropped back, and people are losing their minds. Glasgow lost to Toulon. I think I picked Toulon on that. I have to look and see. Yeah, so this is just, but Ireland's going crazy. Where are these Irish when Irish girls are being molested and raped, when people are being assaulted in the streets, when Dublin is turned into Kinshasa, a cesspool? Where are these people? Yes, conditional approval letter does not mean you're 100% approved. It also does not guarantee you'll fly within the next 4 weeks. Please manage your expectations. Thank you. I saw you post that last night. That is a good statement. I've been saying it forever. I wish people would listen to me. I wish they would listen to me. I got more news of people today who are destitute and suffering because their tickets were canceled. I've never heard from them. So I have very little empathy for people who don't bother watch my content and need help. It's not my fault that you're not finding it. I've tried to help those people, but if you don't want help, you can't get help. Yeah, so the protest was covered up by the media for days, but now on the fifth day, and Ireland running out of diesel and petrol, the stations are running out because of this blocking. Yeah, they're throwing their toys out because they have Trump derangement syndrome. Why weren't they doing this about the invasion of Ireland, where 25% of the people in the country aren't even Irish, and they're crapping in the streets, attacking Irish and demanding things and destroying things? Yeah, where was this anger at for that? How about a little bit of anger for that? How about a little bit of anger for your Irish ethnicity instead of this nonsense? Ireland gridlocked by fuel protests as the Iran war drives prices higher, only 30%, and they're already declining. Yet these people have shut down the entire country. Listen, I have empathy for the people of Ireland to these demonstrations because they're allowed to demonstrate, not block public conveyances, no, not block public roadways, no. And calling out the army to disband them, that is heavy-handed. That is shades of the Troubles. But this is the Republic of Ireland. This is the shades of the Troubles, using the military to suppress protest. That's what the police are for, not the military. This is not good. Protests around fuel prices are entering their fifth day, with 3 of the country's main refineries and terminals blockaded and traffic in Dublin at a standstill. The demonstrations are primarily instigated by farmers, agricultural contractors, and road haulage operators who are upset with the government's response to the spike in fuel prices since the onset of the Iran war. Once again, why weren't they upset when the price of petrol more than doubled just a few years ago? Where were they at then? Yeah, the fuel price outrage is manufactured by mainstream media. It's not real. Yep. The Irish government's announcement on March of a €250 million package of measures to help households and business tackle the spike in prices, including a cut in excise duty on both petrol and diesel, This is a problem that is in search of an issue. The price of petrol has already come down. These people are acting like fools. And meanwhile, Ireland can't even defend itself. I call on the United States to pursue financial compensation and an explanation from the corrupt Irish government that has failed to provide basic security at the Shannon airport, allowing a lunatic to come onto the airfield and then systematically with a hatchet destroy an AC-130 aircraft. I want compensation, I want replacement, I want answers, and I want them now from this corrupt Irish government that allows the country to be overtaken by third world migrants who are not legitimate refugees and who are not asylum seekers, destroying Irish culture, destroying the Irish countryside, and pissing all over the Irish. I demand an answer to what happened at Shannon Airport, and I want compensation forthwith, moving fast. Forget your tax excise cuts. I want you to compensate us for what you did to our aircraft by not protecting that airfield. A man attacked a U.S. military airplane with a hatchet at Shannon Airport this morning. He climbed onto the wing of the C-130, which was parked in a remote taxiway. A man climbed onto the wing of a U.S. military plane at Shannon Airport this morning, attacked the fuselage and wing with a hatchet. The alarm was raised at 9:45 when a person was observed in a restricted area of the airport. The person, understood to be male and moronic, was at a U.S. Air Force C-130 Hercules transport aircraft been parked on a remote runway. It's understood he climbed on the wing of the aircraft and caused damage to the fuselage with the tool. A set of mobile stairs had to be used to reach and detain the man. He was arrested and taken into custody. Yeah, well, this is what happens when the Garda are busy oppressing and suppressing the Irish people rather than doing their damn job and securing places in the Republic of Ireland. Shannon Airport. This is unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable.
Developments.
So watch this nonsense. Watch this nonsense.
Hammering the fucking developments. Two hammering the wing.
It's a hatchet.
With multiple dents now. Several dents.
What the hell kind of security does the Shannon Airport have? If I were a passenger, I would not want to fly through the Shannon Airport. Apparently, the Garda and the security at the airport don't give a flying flip about aviation safety, allowing people to climb onto military aircraft. And by the way, the response from you retarded, woke Irish, I hope that you're the ones whose daughters are the ones that suffer. I hope it's your home that's broken into. I hope it's your job that's taken away for criminals to invade your country with your nonsense. Oh, this is God. Destroy the military the warplane. It's not a warplane. It's a transport plane. Sick people. Damn it. Ireland, gone. UK, gone. Australia, gone. South Africa, gone. These are formerly wealthy, established, developed countries. And now they're just cesspools of hatred and slime. And what is the all too common occurrence? Leftist in power, leftist in power. It's all about leftists in power who destroy these countries. Spain, long gone. South Africa's president is linked to covert operation to recover stolen cash, according to a watchdog. The declassified report into the theft of $580,000 from Ramaphosa's Phala Phala game ranch is reigniting the scandal which he should have been prosecuted for years ago. A declassified report by South Africa's police watchdog risks reigniting one of the most politically damaging scandals of Cyril Ramaphosa's presidency, linking him to an off-the-books operation to recover $580,000 stolen from inside a sofa at his game ranch. The report in the 2020 theft found the president's personal police officers operate outside legal formal channels in attempting to recover the money. The head of Ramaphosa's security unit, Major General Wally Rhoda, participating in a cross-border operation to track down suspects. Well, there you go, folks. That is the bottom line here. We've been talking about this for the past several years. This is a whole list of crimes and egregious actions by Wally Rhoda. This is the clown who spewed racial hatred at the Polish because he and his idiot entourage failed to secure diplomatic overflight, the most basic of things that any diplomats would know about. But Wally Rhoda couldn't be bothered to do his damn job. He could not be bothered to do his damn job. Let's talk about the purported crimes in this report, which has been covered up for 2.5 years by the corrupt Ramaphosa regime, hiding this from the public. It took a Freedom of Information Act equivalent to get this released. They covered it up. So let's just talk about this right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here are the alleged crimes. Concealing the housebreaking and theft at Ramaphosa's farm. Using state resources to investigate the president's private business, which was in an attempt to track and bring back the president's money without registering a case. Kidnapping suspects and interrogating them. They used state resources, police, to pursue his personal interest and failed to file a police report. They concealed the break-in, and he kidnapped the suspects and interrogated them unlawfully. Additionally, folks, he crossed the Namibian border illegally, not even crossing a legal border crossing point apparently. Failed to report the offenses in terms of South African Police Services Act, thereby covering up this act. And this is one we didn't know about. We didn't know about this. Bribery of suspects to conceal events that took place at Phala Phala. We didn't know about bribery. Apparently, they paid them each $10,000 to hide this. And the unlawful apprehension of suspects. This is your government at work. This is what you pay for in South Africa. This is your government of national unity. No accountability. Where is the Democratic Alliance? Where is the Patriotic Alliance? Quite frankly, for this matter, where is the Freedom Front Plus on this issue? Where are they at? Well, this should be the scandal that brought him down just 2 years into his term. Now, 8 years into his term, will it have any impact? Unlikely. The DA will probably protect him and vote for him rather than recall him. Now, Ramaphosa took the Sergeant Schultz approach to this when the report was released publicly. Of course, he was prepared for this for days. Just like Sergeant Schultz, I know nothing. I saw nothing. I had nothing to do with it. Ramaphosa says he had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it. Well, the Phala Phala report doesn't quite leave it out that way. It leaves it open that Ramaphosa was responsible. Declassified report in the conduct of the Presidential Protection Service head Major General Wally Ruda in the wake of the Phala Phala report reveals explosive new details. Yes, indeed. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Report notes that Ramaphosa instructed Ruda to travel to Namibia with his political advisor just 9 days after one of the Blerk. So there you go. There is Ramaphosa's complicit action. There's your prima facie evidence that Ramaphosa was involved in the cover-up and the scandal of Phala Phala. He directed Ruda to go to Namibia, which was a trip to kidnap the suspects, and thus his guilt. Well, what do you say, South Africa? What do you say? Is Ramaphosa guilty of cover-up? Is he responsible? Well, 2 cops take the fall, but what about President Cyril Ramaphosa? The IOL asked this question. That's a good question. That's a great graphic, by the way. I love it. It cannot be that 2 police officers made to carry the can for the Phala Phala scandal while Ramaphosa walks away untouched. This is a conviction of analysts, corruption watchdogs, and civil society organizations following the release of the report by Independent Police Investigative Directorate. Report, which relates to the theft of $580,000 from Phala Phala in 2020, was declassified this week after nearly 3 years of hiding it. Yep. Couch cushions hide a lot more than just that. They hide guilt. They hide guilt. Phala Phala. Well, it's I've so-called refugee. You're forgetting. I've covered that many times since the beginning. It's a customs and it's a immigration violation. Bringing $580,000. You cannot bring in more than 25,000 rand. That's it, and $10,000 in cash. That's it. That's all you're allowed to bring in according to the South African government. You must declare that if you go beyond that. And clearly, this money was not declared. It was brought illicitly into the country to supposedly buy a prize bull that never left the ranch. Yes. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn our attention to the Democratic Alliance holding its national convention right now, or its federal caucus, whatever you want to call it. Steenhuisen's emotional swan song closes a chapter on leadership with pride and confidence. Outgoing leader reflects on rebuilding the DA and its entry into national government. With tears welling up in his eyes, Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen delivered his final address at the party's federal Congress on Saturday, closing his tenure at the helm of the party after confirming earlier this year that he would not seek re-election. Steenhuisen reflected on the state of the DA when he assumed leadership. In 2019, stating it was on its knees, polling at 16% and facing internal division. I love how he talks about how it's polling. In 2019, they got over 20% of the vote. That's the reality. But he likes to use we were polling. So pollsters determined we were at 16%. No, you gained over 20% with Musi Maimane at the head of the party. And then you came in and promptly lost another 100,000 voters in the next election, which you're responsible for. But Steenhuisen wants to call success. Let's go ahead and do a poll on this one, folks. Let's do a poll on this. Okay, time for a poll. Start a poll. Let's go. Come on. What the hell? Let's go here, YouTube. Okay. Is the DA better or worse from Okay, is it better or worse? Excuse me. God bless it. What's going on there? Thank you for your membership. Appreciate you joining us, Cheryl. Okay. Okay, you got 3 options in this poll. Let's see how many people vote in the poll. Gosh, I learned how to type worse. Okay. Okay. All right, poll's up. Poll is up, folks. God bless. Excuse me. There's your chance to answer that poll. Let's get back to the news. John Steenhuisen is got tears welling up in his eyes. Yes. Steenhuisen bows out. The DA leader warns of rising divisions. Ooh. In a farewell that doubled as both a victory lap and a warning shot, outgoing DA leader John Steenhuisen declared his mission complete, but warned that South Africa is at a crossroads. See that the DA gone from being on his knees to the heart of national power. Really? The heart of national power. I'm sorry, which of the consequential ministries does the DA control? Does the DA have the deputy president position? No. Does the DA control justice? No. Foreign policy? No. Intelligence? No. Finance? No. The military? No. I'm sorry? The heart of national government? Forestries? Fisheries? Home affairs? You're at the heart? Education? Where you are pressing Afrikaans kids to learn English? Zulu kids to learn English? It's mission accomplished, he said. We are no longer a party of opposition. We are a party in government shaping the destiny of South Africa. Oh, you are. You are, John Steenhuisen. You're a party in government. You're a party in government. You are shaping South Africa's destiny. 100%. South Africa, stolen land, expropriation without compensation on your watch. South Africa, basic education laws amendment, imposing a colonial language of English on South African children on your watch. Employment Equity Act amendment, only 4% of employees at the management level in corporations, private corporations, can be white. That's on your watch. National health insurance on your watch. Foot and mouth disease on your watch. You are right, John Steenhuisen. The DA is part and parcel of the government of national unity. You are at the heart of everything that's happening in South Africa. You are responsible for all the carnage coming to South Africa. Well, I'm not going to contest it. He's 100% correct. The DA gets things done in the GNU. Yep. 3 options on the poll aren't showing your end. What are you talking about? Oh, the poll's all messed up. I see that. The poll's all messed up. It didn't come out right. What the hell? Come on, YouTube, you turds. Yeah, well, the options aren't in white. There's something wrong with your screen. You guys got to quit doing stupid stuff with your screens, okay? I'll do it again. I don't pick the colors, and nothing's changed here, so I don't know what's going on with your guys' computers. Okay. So here, let's try it again. Start the poll again. I could see it was a problem there. Okay, now I can see it. Hopefully you can see it too. Just me. Whoever's trying to trash him, he won't succeed. I'm not trying to trash him. I'm using John Steenhuisen's own words there, buddy. You can vote DA all you want. I encourage people to vote DA, and look what it got them. It got them Bella, NHI, EWC, Employment Equity Act, support for terrorist states, Iranian terrorist ships on naval exercises. Yeah, you can, yeah. No one's trashing the DA, simply stating the facts. I'm the guy that encouraged people to vote for the DA in 2019, in 2021. I don't trash anybody. I just give you the facts. Just the facts. If you can't handle the facts, that's too bad. That's too bad. But that's the reality. All right, so there you go. So John Steenhuisen, let's get back to this. Whoops, what happened here? Okay. Phala Phala is upset about the new racist, Africa-centric education curriculum, and she's right to be upset. Downgrading Steve Biko in matric history syllabus. The former lover of Steve Biko, Phala Phala, has criticized the removal of Steve Biko and the Black Consciousness movement from the matric history syllabus. Experts argue that integrating Biko and BCM into a broader topic risks diminishing their intellectual and historical significance in the liberation struggle. Well, of course it does. You understand, of course, that Steve Biko had nothing to do with the ANC, and they have co-opted his legacy. The ANC had nothing to do with the Black Consciousness movement. They did not initiate it, did not participate in it. They are not a part and parcel of it, but they are stealing history with this racist curriculum. Steve Biko was Steve Biko, and the people around him were the people around him, not the ANC, not the Pan-African Congress. And they've stolen his legacy. These are thieves. These are rapacious thieves who don't only steal money, not only steal property, not only steal land, not only take lives, they also steal history. They are thieves of the highest order. And she's right to be upset. Helen Zilla says some strange things. And once again, Helen, the invitation is here. You're welcome to come to my program. You'll be treated fairly, as I treat all my guests fairly, whether I agree with them or not. Of course, I'm the person who said the most wonderful things about Helen Zilla for well over a decade. But now, even Helen seems to be losing the plot in this obvious political nonsense. Zilla says that South Africa is on a different path because of the DA. Really? Outgoing DA federal chairperson Helen Zilla says South Africa is on a different political trajectory because of the Blue Party. She delivered her comments in her last official address in Midrand. Historians will one day ask this question: how did South Africa, of all countries, chart a different course? And the answer will be this: the Democratic Alliance, you. We have taken on two powerful racial nationalist traditions in our history. We defeated one of them at the end of the 20th century. We have prevented another from dominating our new landscape, acting as a powerful break in the trend in liberating countries for the liberators to become the oppressors. Sorry, folks, I was choking on what I read. I had to clear my throat. I was choking on what I just read there. I'm sorry. We've taken on two powerful racial nationalist traditions. Well, that would be the National Party. They did do that. They do get credit for that. But they say they prevented the other, the ANC, from dominating our new landscape. I'm sorry. Does South Africa's foreign policy reflect the wants and desires of its population? No. It reflects the interests of a former terrorist organization and liberation movement known as the African National Congress in Lutuli House, supporting terror regimes in Tehran, in Gaza, and elsewhere. No. Does South Africa reflect the need for people to prosper? No. So you have not stopped the ANC racial movement. It continues with the racialization of the education curriculum under your Democratic Alliance minister, Siviwe Garuba. She's the one that is implementing this racist, African-centric policy. She's the one that will lead to generations of functionally ignorant, illiterate morons graduating from school in South Africa who don't know the history of the world because they're Afrocentric and pretending that Africa developed the world. The only thing Africa gave the world is a place for us to get the hell out of 180,000 years ago. That's it. Wow. Well, the EFF provincial legislator claims that the conviction against Julius Malema is simply political, silencing revolution. What revolution? What revolution is the EFF involved in? Stealing from the Venda Bank? EFF MP claims Malema's gun conviction is about silencing revolution. A sea of red is expected in East London next week when EFF leader Julius Malema returns to the dock for sentencing proceedings. Supporters are expecting their numbers on Wednesday for proceedings that Eastern Cape MP Notukule Moloki claims is more about sentencing revolutionary ideas than about justice. Please. Case emanates from a viral video that showed Malema firing several shots of a rifle at the party's 5th anniversary at the stadium back in 2018. And finally, nearly 8 years later, he will face justice. But don't hold your breath. Not much is going to happen. The IOL correctly reports that the deployment of the South African National Defense Force, which is questionable at best and foolhardy at worst, is having no improvement in the Cape Flats. Waste of money. Cape Flats bleeds as SANDF's costly deployment fails to stem gang violence. Streets of the Cape Flats continue to bleed daily despite the deployment of SANDF. The soldiers deployed in an attempt to bring stability to the province as the gang violence had reached boiling points were deployed on April 1st as part of Operation Prosper. However, the deployment has meant nothing to the people of Cape Flats, who continue to die daily. Wow. Wow. Nothing happening. Well, the DA Congress, I love this party, says John Steenheiser in his final speech. Yes, as he leaves the DA, he says, in a better position than when he became leader in 2019. He initially became interim leader in 2019 when Musi Maimani's resignation after the party received 20.77% of the national vote. This was a drop from the 22.23%. But you'll notice in this story, they never mention what percentage of the vote they got under John Steenhuisen. There's never a mention of the percentage of the vote that they got under John Steenhuisen. They mention 2014 and 2019 to trash Musi Maimani, but they don't mention what Johnny got. Johnny Boy, ladies and gentlemen, under Helen Zilla, the Democratic Alliance reached its zenith, and well, it should have, at 4,004,000 votes in 2014, 12 years ago. Under Musi Maimani and their ANC-like policies, they dropped to 3.6 million plus votes. They lost 400,000 votes. 10% of the voters evaporated. Then, under John Steenhuisen, 5 years later, the man who claims he resuscitated and saved the DA from its 16% polling, which was just a poll, not a vote. John Steenhuisen managed just 3.5 million votes for the DA, a loss of additional 100,000 plus voters. But he saved the DA. He says the party is stronger and healthier than ever. Well, we'll see how the municipal elections. You know how they put lipstick on a pig after the municipal elections? This is when it became clear that the Democratic Alliance doesn't care about South Africans. It cares about its leaders, just like the ANC. They put lipstick on a pig instead of being honest. And when they got thrashed in the last municipal elections, they were destroyed in the last municipal elections. And the by-elections have been disastrous for them ever since. They are losing everywhere. In Cape Town, they're down to just 57% of the vote. And they lost places across the Western Cape that they had control of for years. Yet he made the party stronger and better. He lives in a fantasy world, a delusional, psychotic dream that makes no sense. And I suppose that's true. He's busy dreaming and not paying his Visa credit card bills. Yes, John Steenhuisen, the man who promised to do an interview a dozen times and failed to show up every time. Yes. But now, as the white Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen is busy coming up with a comprehensive plan on foot and mouth disease 3 years after he became minister. Or 2 years after he became minister, excuse me. The Department of Agriculture has moved to formalize routine vaccine against foot and mouth disease through a new national framework aimed at reducing outbreaks. Why was there not always a routine program? For a few cents per head, this entire situation could have been avoided entirely. Entirely. Why did the ANC never implement a full vaccination program? Why did John Steenhuisen ignore this program for months? For months. In April of last year, when I asked to come on the program to discuss this and tell people what the plan was, he agreed to come on. Then gave me an excuse he couldn't come on Monday. Then his PA said we reschedule, and he never showed up, just left me hanging. I've learned to not trust the leader or former leader of the Democratic Alliance. His word is not his bond. His word is just political gobbledygook and nonsense, and that's the reality. I've interviewed him one time after he was very rude and disrespectful to me, and in my interview, I treated him fairly despite his abhorrent behavior to me. No respect whatsoever. He is afraid of me. And rightly so, because I've got something on him. Stormers mourn the sudden passing of renowned team manager Chippy Solomon, passed away at the age of 64, shockingly on Saturday, today, from a heart attack. The team is devastated at this news. It is a sad story. It's a familiar face for the Stormers in Province. His passing will leave a gap, a void in the Stormers organization. Well, BBBEE is settled debate within the DA, says the head of policy. Well, that's good. They oppose it. They say it's bad. But they want to focus more on poverty, which makes sense. But this is unclear. Is the DA's position that they would like to keep a BEE program, stealing equity from people, giving it to the poor? That's not morally right. But if your focus is for whatever support you give to the poor based on income, I got no problem with that. That's what I said from the very outset in 1994. Assistance and a leg up shouldn't depend on skin color. If you're going to do it, it should be solely based on poverty. Well, not to worry, South Africa. France is coming to the rescue. The one-armed surrender monkeys are coming to South Africa's rescue. Yes. Emmanuel Macron bats for South Africa at a health summit. France sent a strong signal of support for South Africa's participation in bilateral and multilateral platforms this week when President Emmanuel Macron invited a South African delegation to the One Health Summit in Lyon. Just weeks after France disinvited South Africa from the G7 summit, France invited South Africa to attend the Health Summit this week. Well, good luck for you. Have fun. Aaron Mozzolati will be going. Meanwhile, the French have shown up. Yeah, they can't show up to the Gulf to get the oil through for their failing economy, but they sure can send naval ships to Cape Town where terrorists hang out. Yes, the French Navy's Jeanne d'Arc task group drops anchor in Table Bay. More than 800 French sailors are currently enjoying the attractions and hospitality of Cape Town, the mother city, as the French Navy's Jeanne d'Arc 2026 task group makes a port call in Table Bay. The French Navy Mistral-class landing helicopter Doc FS Dixmude arrived in Cape Town on the 5th of April, accompanied by the Lafayette-class stealth frigate FS Aconit, for what officials describe as a mission of bilateral cooperation and defense diplomacy. So, South Africa, a port of call for sanctioned Russian ships, terror ships from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, and the French. There's a good crowd. Ghana is cutting fuel taxes to keep the price down as the pump prices increase. Government is going to suspend fuel levies for a month. Well, smart of them. As the Strait of Hormuz sparks this global crisis, a small West African country called Togo is hoping to become a major port. Well, good luck with that. Amid persistent disruptions in global trade in the Strait of Hormuz, Togo is putting forward an ambitious plan to position the port of Lomé as a more secure and dependable logistics center for the international maritime industry. Well, I've been to Lomé. It's not exactly that well advanced, but good luck with that, Togo. Wish you all the best. You and your 4-decade-old ruler. Nigeria convicts 386 Islamist militants in mass trials. Nigeria is convicting nearly 400 Islamic militants after mass trials this week in Abuja. Prosecution began on Tuesday as part of a series of trials involving Boko Haram and ISWAP suspects that started in 2017 with more than 2,000 defendants. We brought 508 cases to court, and out of this number, we were able to convict 386. 2 acquittals and 112 cases adjourned. So 2 acquittals. So most of these people were, in fact, terrorists. Meanwhile, back in Ireland, as I said, the protests are continuing over fuel. Is it manufactured? Is it real? Why didn't they protest when the price of fuel went up by 120%? This time it's just 30% and it's dropping. Irish fuel protests enter the 4th day. It's actually the 5th day now. That's yesterday's news. The government was set to meet with farmers yesterday, and then they said they didn't agree to anything. Ireland risks cutting off oil supply amid protests. Michael Martin has said that Ireland is going to turn away fuel ships coming to Ireland. So the fuel crisis will be manufactured largely by the Irish government, who will not allow fuel to come because the ports are backed up. All right. The fuel protests in Ireland are causing transport chaos in Ireland over the spiked in oil prices. The Irish government promised more help on Friday for sectors affected by surging fuel prices due to the war, after days of wide-scale protests and blockades caused travel chaos in Ireland. Wow. Friday afternoon, the government officials met with more representative bodies from the agricultural, food, transport, and freight sectors for full and frank discussion on the growing pressures. The government noted a significant enhanced support package to alleviate the burden of impacted sectors. Yeah. Okay, good luck with that. The Irish government is finalizing that package for fuel. Fuel protests disrupt Ireland as over a third of service stations have run dry. Protests over the soaring cost of fuel spread disruption across Ireland on Saturday, with many gas stations running dry as truck and tractor drivers staged a 5th day of blockades. Vehicles blocking traffic led to closures of the main highways around the capital of Dublin, as well as 6 other major roadways. More than 1/3 of the 1,500 service stations in the Republic are out of fuel, and that number is expected to grow dramatically if the roadblocks remain. Irish police officers put all officers on notice they could be called to duty over the weekend. Meanwhile, the military has been called out to suppress the protest. Fuel price protests are causing chaos not just in Ireland, but now in Norway as well. Folks, in Norway, 90+% of the price of fuel is taxes, not the price of fuel. Irish drivers told to buy fuel only they need as filling stations run out and haulers and farmers block motorways in their 5th day. In Ireland, the protests led fuel shortages and travel disruption. In Norway, lorry drivers taking part in the diesel roar protest descended on the capital. My goodness, it's getting out of control. Oh, look, it's Ireland. Or is that Pakistan? Those aren't Irish people. That's O'Connell Street. Well, Ireland, gone. United States and Iranian delegates are meeting in Pakistan over the fragile ceasefire that the Iranians have failed to adhere to since the moment it kicked off. A U.S. delegation led by J.D. Vance arrived in Pakistan for high-level talks with Iranian representatives, marking the first such engagement since the war began. Vance landed in Islamabad, and to my knowledge, it may be the first time U.S. and Iranian officials have met directly since 1979. I could be incorrect. Maybe Obama did, but I believe it's the first time since 79. U.S. and Iran are meeting in Pakistan on ending the conflict. Iran is unable to find the mines that it planted. An irresponsible action by a rogue terror state planting mines indiscriminately in major shipping lanes. The lost mines have prevented Iran from quickly complying with Trump's demand to allow more ships to pass the waterway. Iran has been unable to open the Strait of Hormuz to more shipping because it cannot locate all the mines it laid in the waterway and lacks the capability to remove them. Seriously. If you cannot remove mines, you cannot locate them, you don't keep maps of where you put them, then you shouldn't have them to begin with. Unbelievable. An Iranian source falsely claims that the United States has agreed to unfreeze Iranian assets. A senior Iranian source said Saturday the U.S. had agreed to release Iranian assets frozen in Qatar and other foreign banks. But the U.S. denies that this is true. Once again, the Iranians playing a propaganda war, lying about it, trying to gain advantage. President Trump says U.S. ships are loading up ahead of the talks. He said if U.S. forces are prepared to resume strikes if the negotiations test the ceasefire. We're loading up the ships with the best ammunition, the best weapons ever made. And if we don't have a deal, we'll be using them, and we'll be using them very effectively. Wow. Trump is not holding back. Well, a former staffer is accusing Fang Swalwell, the scumbag piece of human sludge from California. Fang Swalwell, who sleeps with Chinese spies and gets no consequences for it. The candidate for governor in California, an ex-staffer says he sexually assaulted her. Now, it's a he said, she said, but it's getting bad for Swalwell. A woman who worked for nearly 2 years for little Fang boy, a leading candidate for governor of California, said she had sexual encounters with him while he was her boss and alleged he twice sexually assaulted her when she was too intoxicated to consent. He said those allegations are false and come the eve of an election against the frontrunner for governor. For nearly 20 years, I've served the public as a prosecutor and a congressman and have always protected women. I will defend myself with the facts and when necessary bring legal action. My focus in the coming days is to be with my wife and children and defend our decades of service against these lies. Well, they may be lies, but I don't really care. All I have to say is, Fang. Eric Swalwell's girlfriend was a Chinese spy. Eric Swalwell likely disclosed information, classified information, to the Chinese. Eric Swalwell violated the Espionage Act, apparently, and should be investigated and prosecuted. Meanwhile, things are getting worse. 4 women have now come forward. The number multiplies. Me too. 4 women described sexual misconduct by Swalwell, including a former staffer who says he raped her. I was pushing him off me, saying no. He didn't stop. One woman who connected online with Swalwell over her interest in Democratic politics said he ended up extremely drunk inside his hotel room after a night out with a congressman, with little memory of what occurred. Earlier in the night, he kissed her and touched her leg without her consent. Another woman who described receiving unsolicited nude messages from Swalwell was the social media creator Ali Samarako. She said she initially reached out to Congressman on Twitter to discuss politics. I truly never thought he would respond. I had like 1,000 followers at the time. He actually responded. Well, sweetheart, he probably looked at your picture. He's a lech. Probably looked at your photograph and said, aha, I want to knock boots with that one. And he answered, yes. All right, well, Swalwell is on the way out. His supporters are pulling their support. Allies yank support for Swalwell's California governor run after sexual assault allegations. Fang is done. In a stunning political reversal, prominent supporters of Representative Eric Fang Swalwell, governor campaign, withdrew their support yesterday after the congressman denied allegations he sexually assaulted a woman twice. Wow. Unbelievable. Powerful labor unions, including the California Service Employees International Union, the California Teachers Association, said that they're suspending their support. California Federation of Labor Unions said it's acting urgently on next steps. Congressmen should leave the race now so there can be full accountability without doubt, distraction, or delay, said Democratic Representative Jimmy Gomez, who helped run his campaign. Wow. Ending his role. Whoa. Wow. Fang is done, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, he gets his comeuppance. Hopefully, criminal charges and investigation into espionage active allegation or violations will be forthcoming. Well, the Artemis 2 mission splashed down exactly the minute that it was planned before the mission even took off. An insanely accurate 10-day mission. Only American exceptionalism can bring you this. Meanwhile, South Africa is trying to take credit for the Artemis 2 mission because there's a tracking station there. There's one in Australia and one in Chile, too. Do you want them to get all the credit? They didn't plan or execute this mission. It was done by America with a Canadian going along for the ride. NASA's Orion module splashed in the Pacific Ocean just after 8 p.m. yesterday, concluding Eastern Standard Time, including an important test for the Artemis program. Successful landing marks conclusion of important tests for the Artemis program, manned spaceflight around the moon, the furthest trip ever in history. Federal workforce has been slashed during the Trump administration, and it's long overdue. The lowest numbers since the 1960s. The federal workforce has shrunk by more than 352,000 employees since Trump took office last year through firings, resignations, retirements. The federal workforce is smaller today than any point since 1966. Ladies and gentlemen, as of February, the Bureau of Labor Services recorded 2,683,000 federal employees. That's down 355,000. And I submit to you, the national parks still work, the ports are still governed, ICE is more active and effective than it's ever been, the military is still funded, and we still have all the services. 355,000 fewer people work in federal government, and what have we lost? Now, those people lost their jobs, and sad for them, but we've lost nothing. No, I haven't forgot the crab. Well, it's not the crabs, Ian. It's meeting in South African. Thank you. I am running out of time. An Epic Times survey finds that most Americans support rethinking birthright citizenship. We don't like anchor babies. Birthright citizenship creates incentives for illegal immigration. 92% of people agree with that. Birthright citizenship encourages birth tourism. 92% agree. Allowing illegal immigrant parents to remain in the United States increases demand for public services. 90% agree. Birth tourism increases demand in U.S. hospitals and healthcare. 85% agree. The 14th Amendment was not intended to grant citizenship only based on birthplace. 76% of Americans. 76% of Americans agree that that does not grant citizenship. Now, children born in the United States to temporary visitors should receive U.S. citizenship. 92% say no. Children born in the United States should receive U.S. citizenship regardless of parents' legal status. 89% of Americans polled say that they disagree that having an anchor baby gives you citizenship. Why are we even debating this? Why is the Supreme Court stringing this out? The Americans are right on this. The Supreme Court is playing games with our sovereignty. President Trump unveils the Triumphal Arch, the 250-foot arch that will be placed on the other side of the Potomac for the 250th anniversary of the United States. They better get busy on it now. We're running out of time. White House has released its latest renderings of the 250-foot Triumphal Arch that will dwarf the Lincoln Memorial with a figure resembling the Statue of Liberty. It won't dwarf the Lincoln Memorial. It's nowhere near the Lincoln Memorial. See, this is nonsense. This is going to be on the other side in front of Arlington Cemetery at that roundabout there, which right now is just ugh. So, yeah, it's not going to dwarf the Lincoln Memorial. Apple is closing its unionized store in Maryland. Apple said Monday it will shut down its retail store in Towson, the first of U.S. locations where retail employees successfully unionized in 2022. That's right. Go union, lose your job. Treasury and the IRS ruled, they have proposing a rule for 1% remittance tax. This is going to be horrible for people sending money back home. Mexico stands to lose the most from this tax. The Internal Revenue Service and the Department of Treasury proposed regulations Friday regarding a new excise tax established under One Big Beautiful Bill. Beginning 1 January 2026, a 1% remittance transfer tax applies to remittances sent from the United States to recipients in foreign countries where the sender provides cash, a money, or a cashier's check. Sender's liable for the tax remittance. That's just wrong. Why was that put in the bill? How racist they are. Rumble Post security chief. Well, that's old news. That's from before. That's not the news. I'm done with the news. That was what I used for my story, for my video. And there you have it, folks. Today, Saturday, April 11th, 4 days before tax demand comes. And that's the news for today. And what are your questions? 406 people here. Let's close the poll. End the poll. All right, this is the most telling part of it. A lot of people obviously are unhappy with John Steenhuisen, but 77% say that the party is worse off today. Yet he takes a victory lap and all the sycophants give him a roaring ovation and stand. It's really sad to see. Really sad to see. Did they do that for Helen when she left? Did they give her a big victory lap? She deserved one when she left in that position. But Ramaphosa, come on, not Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa like John Steenhuisen. You guys are welcome. 29 ran for diesel in South Africa from the beginning of the month. We pay 45. Ouch. That's going to hurt. It's not beneficial for Zulu, Afrikaans, other non-Anglophone children to be taught English from an early age. Snippets, they're not being taught English. They're being taught in English. There's a difference. I have no problem with people being introduced, with kids in primary school being introduced to foreign language. But being taught in a foreign language that you don't speak is wrong. It stunts development and leaves kids behind, even though they're very flexible and learn very quickly. You're bringing children to school who don't speak English and teaching them in the English language medium. That's the difference, snippets. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. Yes, it is beneficial to learn a second language. I wish that I had learned a second language as a youth. I speak 6 languages, but I had to work at that. Whereas with a child, it's natural to pick up these languages. No, you're misunderstanding the point. The point with Bella is it's imposing a colonial language when your child shows up in primary school at the first grade they go to, standard 1 or whatever the hell you call it. When they show up there, their teacher's going to be speaking English to them, not Zulu, not Afrikaans, not Xhosa, not Tswana, not Venda, not Swati, and not a Khoi or San language. And they're going to be forced to learn in English. That's just wrong. And that's against the Constitution. Yeah, please hit the like button. Our history books were deleted, 1% history books were removed and burned, says Mar. Okay. Steenhuisen cannot arrange a piss up in a bar. Chris, you're running out of time. It's not steamed crabs, Ian. Those are at 4 p.m., so I've got 3 hours before I need them. It is my meeting with the South African refugee who's relocated tonight to Pennsylvania. This will be the second group of refugees I've met. I've met 3 previously, 1 family, and now this one, an individual coming by themselves. Apparently very outspoken about women's rights. Oh, yeah, he's a douchebag. You're talking about Swalwell. Yeah, the people, these people that become so outspoken and such big zealots about it, oftentimes you have to question. I mean, I talk about gender-based violence. I haven't done much recently, and I talk about, how women are abused and children are abused. But the people that just make it, men who make it in prominent positions, men in prominent positions who make it a big deal, you always have to wonder. And in this case, we know what he's all about. Big Fish says, apologies for being late. No problem with that. People come when they can make it. Kati Fundiban, what's up? Told my kids to give them permission to fail history. Let them have their fun until South Africa changes it to Azani. Yep. The ANC desperately wants Cape Town. The only thing standing between them and CY is the colored community. They don't really want to resolve the situation. Well, the DA is losing the colored community. They lost a big chunk of it in the last election, only down to 57% of the vote in Cape Town. They lost a lot, and they're losing it to the PA left and right, and to the Freedom Front Plus too. It's getting longer every year, almost like the new extended LGBT crap in Canada. Yep, you're right, Delia. Hey, Fonz, what's going out there in Denver? Switching off completely south. Looking forward to USA, says Dorothy. Okay. The truth is, Colonel hasn't offered him a credit card as payment. Hey, Lou, how's it going? Crap history homework that my teenage daughters are bringing home is disturbing. Yep. They should then set the example if they support it, give up the cushy jobs. Yep. The Army is not even visible in Cape Flats. I had to go drop off some people in Mitchell's Plains and not see an Army truck. Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's the usual way of the Southern government. They're adept at kicking the can down the road because they mismanage everything they touch. Sad news, David Simpson schools are getting worse. Okay. Okay. Next elections, DA are going to drop the white vote. Yep. Not DA or any party can survive this new rainbow. Let's see, it's only a country with one color's rainbow. Yeah, one color in rainbow. Hey, Mariki, you're fine. Show up when you show up. He lost the plot. He used to be good. Then the GNU happened. Well, he certainly appears to have sold us out. He sold you out long before the GNU. He sold you out before the GNU. People just didn't see it. I saw it a long time ago. DA may be better than nothing, but in my opinion, the Freedom Front Plus is better than the DA, so that puts them 2 notches up from nothing. Not even the Army can stop them, okay? I will never vote DA in my life again. Unfortunate that I once did, says Vodka Model. Leslie Ann says, in full agreement with your Steve Biko comments. Yes, well, thank you. Well, that's because I'm correct. The ANC's tried to co-opt Steve Biko and the Black Conscience Movement. They had nothing to do with it. They had nothing to do with the Black Sash Movement. Nothing to do with it. They had nothing to do with the sanctions that were imposed on South Africa. Nothing, not a nix, nine yet, nine to Bonhoeffer. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. They take credit for it. Go to the Apartheid Museum, if it's open again, in Gold Reef City, in Soweto. It's all lies. Once upon a time, it was accurate historically. But over the past 25 years, they've stolen the show. Whole political scene is on big scam being turned in front of our eyes. Yep. No need for anyone to trash today. They have to cover themselves. Freedom Front is my vote. Yeah, well, I'm not trashing the. I'm just stating the facts. Again, I encourage people to vote for the DA once upon a time, but they've just proven who they are. Just Me says DA has my vote. Yeah, that's our response. Just Me, you're welcome to vote for whoever you want. You want to vote for the DA, the PA, Black Land First, whoever you want to vote for, that's your prerogative. However, the DA is a dying party, like the EFF and the ANC. All three are dying. The PA is on the rise. The Freedom Front Plus is on the rise. IFP is on a rise that people aren't even seeing. Yeah, so, yep. I think we can agree to disagree with those who believe it's better. I, for one, voted DA forever. In the last year, I've changed that vote based on their piss poor performance and lack of scruples. Yep. Well, look how they treated Emma Powell. Look how they treated Andrew Whitfield. They sent them to these places, and then because they're cowards and were so desperate to hold on to their foothold in government for their perks, they rounded them out. And now this little Ryan Smith guy is the shadow minister for international relations. How is that? How is that? How is that? That was Emma Powell's position. She did nothing wrong in that position. She did what the DA asked her to do. Grok doesn't know how to type. All right. I believe Ron Paul will likely be head major crime syndicate. Okay. What about bringing dollars in? Well, I covered that. Yep. The whole thing. So you guys can watch that video. Let me get you the link to that video, so hopefully you can go watch it. So my mods, if you could share this wide on social media so we get a lot of views on this one. I need a video to go viral. This is the one that should go viral. Nothing's gone viral lately. So there you go. I haven't heard from Emma Powell in a long time. In fact, my message is to her. I think she might have changed her phone. Let me see. No, she still had her phone. I have not heard from her since. Wow, when was the last time I heard from her? August 28th is the last time I heard from Emma Powell. She still has the same number because I'm still getting my messages still going through, but I'm not hearing from her. Wow. Wow. It's a while ago. All right. What does Snippet say? Somebody said it isn't true. But once they have a grasp of English, wouldn't it be beneficial to be taught in English since there's a vast lot? You're not listening, Snippets. Please, see, this is a habit people have of not hearing what I'm saying. You're not listening. You're just hearing what you want to hear. Yes, it's beneficial to learn language, but it's not beneficial to take a 5-year-old and throw them in a school where they're being taught. Look, as an adult, I walked into a Swahili immersion class at university in my early 20s. I was a week late because I added to my schedule a week after the term started. They were all talking Swahili. They already had 4 classes, and they were speaking Swahili. And they wouldn't speak a word of English. And it's just, they to me, Jinlangu, Hakare, Habari Nzuri. And I'm like, blah, 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 I haven't even had an assignment yet. That's not right. It's not fair. And it also suppresses your first language. You should be taught in the language that is your language, whether it's Hmong or Vietnamese or English, Serbo-Croat, which will offend some of those people, Zulu, Tswana. You should be taught in your language and learn a second language. You're not hearing it, Snippets. You're hearing what you want to hear. They are forcing English as the only medium of instruction. You won't learn in Zulu. You won't learn in Xhosa. You won't learn in Venda. You won't learn in Afrikaans. You will learn only in English. It's an effort to destroy culture. I don't know why that's so complicated to understand. Is that complicated, folks? Am I misstating something? Katya voted DA last time. Now she's sad. Yeah, isn't it exactly, Marissa? I made that point. Isn't it ironic that in 76 and in 85 they protested the imposition of Afrikaans, but now they force English on people? 6% of South Africans speak English as a first language. 6%. Yet 100% of students are going to be forced to be learning in English from first grade on. What am I missing here? I don't think I'm missing anything here. Again, there's nothing wrong with learning another language. In fact, I encourage it. There's a point at which it's a disadvantage to learn a little-known language. Well, Snippets, we can make a fair argument on that. You can make a fair argument on that. But the argument isn't being taught in a little-known language. The argument, well, look, what do you mean? South Africans were taught in Afrikaans, and it was a little-known, little-used language, yet they developed the G5, the G6, the Rooivalk. They built nuclear weapons. They did the first heart transplant. They built schools and clinics and healthcare and education. and had an incredibly prosperous country. Not for everybody, but incredibly prosperous, despite the fact that only a handful of people spoke the language. No, I don't agree with that. If your point is that it's a disadvantage if you don't become fluent in a second language at a certain point, I'll go along with that. But by the time you reach high school, you should have been introduced to English well enough that you should become proficient in it, that you could learn in that language as well. All right. Yeah, Lewis says, not at all. That is the reason the youth of this country can understand life as a whole. They have not learned the basics in their own language, the language they understand to the core. Yep. A lot of grade 1 and grade 2 learners get disadvantaged because they don't understand English. That's the point I'm trying to make, which would be most. Isaac has put a bomb up there. What's the bomb for, Isaac? No, I know why, Elmarie. What they want to do is they want to force kids who are black into schools that are primarily white or colored. That's what it's all about. Just look at Brockenfell. That's what they're trying to do. Yeah, you had Afrikaans, English, and Sotho in school. There you go, Yaku. Okay, cool. No, Spanish is not the first language in schools in Miami, California. English is the first language. Anyway, this is an English country, and this effort to destroy it with Spanish needs to stop. All right, cool beans. That's it, guys. I got to go. I'm going to go meet with the South African refugee in 22 minutes. All right? If I'm a few minutes late, I'll apologize to my refugee. I'll be there shortly, and then later plant my raspberries if things go well, collect my steamed crabs, and then I don't know about night outs tonight. Saturday, I don't usually do it, but probably need to make some videos. I got a lot of stuff to catch up. Please go watch my video about Cyril Ramaphosa and the Phala Phala cover-up. Okay? Phala Phala cover-up. Okay? Thanks, guys. Be well. God bless. Have a good day. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. Were there any super chats? I don't remember. Oh, just one. Thank you for that super chat. Cheers, everybody. Be well.